welcome to my first video tutorial, and today we'll be talking about the steps you can take to work towards your middle splits. A couple notes before we get started. My favorite time to work on middle splits, especially when I first started working towards this posture, was to the end of a very vigorous practice. So if you have the time after your 45-minute, hour, 90-minute practice, you can work on all these postures towards your middle splits. And that's because as much as it is a stretch for your groin, your adductor muscles, it really is a full body workout stretch. So spine, legs, hips, all working. If you don't have the time, no worries. You can always work through a couple of sun A's. You can throw on your favorite song, do a 2 or 3 minute dance party, whatever you need to do to really warm your body up, at least just a little before you work into these particular poses and stretches. Other than that, if you have a couple of blocks, it might feel helpful while we're working through the stretches. If you don't have blocks, you can always use books, soup cans, whatever you can put your hands on, let the earth come to you. You also might like to have a pillow with you, place it underneath one knee in the lunges or both knees when we get to frog pose. Last note before we get started, if you haven't worked towards your middle splits or these posture stretches are new, I'd encourage you to take it really, really, really slow. Right? You don't have to get it all done today. Listen to your body, back off when you need to, and then you can always try again tomorrow. All right, with that, let's get started. And we'll get started in just a down dog. Spread the fingers wide, lift your hips up high, and your heels low. From here, you can bend one knee and the other. Just getting into the backs of the legs, the calves, the hamstrings. As and when you feel ready, step your right foot forward in between your two hands so that we can step into a low lunge. Left knee down, long through back leg and uncurl the toe. I like to keep my two hands down on the floor for a few breaths so I can ease my body into the stretch. Do make sure you're less directly on your back kneecap, more on the thigh, giving yourself the room to press your left hip down and forward. Keep a slight contraction of your left glute, so pull up on your left butt cheek so the front of your left thigh can continue to release and lengthen. As and when you feel ready, interlace your hands on your front thigh, right thigh, and then use your hands to press the muscle away from the bone, pulling your lower belly in. Making sure that your hips stay on with your shoulders, and you stand tall from the waist up. Breathe as you do it. Take one more breath to press your left hip down and forward, and then slowly hands come down to the floor. Back up your hips, straighten out through your front leg for your half splits. So from here, you can keep your hands on the floor, or you can place your hands on the blocks if that makes the shape more accessible, so that you can really find the length in the leg, but also find the length through your spine. Now you might flex your toes or point them, whatever makes sense for your body. I particularly like to flex the toes so you can really dig the heel into the floor and energetically pull the heel back towards the body without actually moving it to light up the muscles. Keep a micro bend in your front knee, and that saves you tension behind the kneecap. Wherever you are, focus on contraction of the right thigh. So pull up on the thigh so the hamstring can lengthen. Breathe as you do it. Move your butt back and your heart forward. Go long through your spine. Take one more inhale to lengthen. On your exhale, rebend your front knee and crawl your hands forward. Two hands inside of your front foot. We'll move into lizard. Pick your back knee off of the mat, and then toe heel your right foot out to the right. Rock the hips forward, back, side to side. Floss and open up through the hips, and then slowly, eventually, left knee down, long through back leg, uncurl the toe. Now you can stay on the hands. You can also lower down to the forearms, or you can place whatever you like on your blocks if that makes the shape more accessible. For our purposes today, rather than squeezing the thigh into the midline, I'll encourage you to find a wider lizard, letting the knee move out. Just make sure that your ankle moves out with it. You're still looking for that 90-degree angle between ankle, knee, and hip as you heavy the hips down to the floor. As you heavy the hips, Contract your left glute so the front of the left thigh continues to release. Maybe bringing right hand to the inside of your right thigh, creating a little bit more stretch sensation on the inside of the right hip. You're welcome to stay right here, or you can bend your back knee and catch your foot with your right hand to stretch more through the front of your left thigh, the quad. Now you can bring the heel closer towards the butt, intense the stretch, open up through your heart, relax through your throat, your jaw, your forehead. One more breath here, and then slowly release your hand and foot back down to the floor. No loud thumps. Curl your back toes under left your knee, and then step your left foot forward outside your left hand, Malasana, yogi squat. 2 heels down, 2 hips down, lift up through your heart. Now, sit as low as you can, right, as makes sense for your body, but most importantly, make sure the heels are on the floor. So you might lift up out of your hips a little bit for that to happen. No big deal. You can press palm into palm. Try to get your forearms parallel to the floor and the arms inside of the legs. That way you can press your legs into the arms, and then you can press your arms back into the legs. Lift up through your heart, right? Draw your tailbone down. One more lift here, and then hands just come down, lift up your hips, and it's a forward fold. Give yourself a little shake, a little shimmy, and then hands come down, walk your feet back, and you find yourself into that down dog, so we can move on to the left side. Step your left foot forward in between your 2 hands, right knee down. Long through back leg and curl the toe. And if you ever need more support or a little bit more comfort for the back knee, you can always place your pillow underneath the knee. All right, do make sure you're less on the knee, more top of your thigh, giving yourself the room to press the hips down and forward. Contract your right glute so the front of the right thigh continues to release. As and when you feel ready, interlace your hands on the front thigh, press the muscle away from the bone, and then pull the lower belly in. Keep the contraction of your right glute, keep your core strong, but soft through your jaw, your throat, and that space in between your eyebrows. One more breath, hips down and forward, and then slow hands come down to the floor. Right, back up the hips, straighten out through the front leg, half splits. Again, you can keep your hands on the floor, or you can place your hands to your blocks if that creates more length in the spine in the front leg. Flex the toes or point them, make the choice that works for you. Dig the heel into the floor, energetically pull the heel back. That way we can also square the hips, moving left hip back and right hip forward. Pull lower belly in, draw your tail back, draw your heart forward, create the length in your spine, and just make sure you're breathing whole time. One more breath to find the length, and then slow rebend, and then crawl your hands inside of your front foot, left foot. Pick your back knee off of the mat, rock it back and forth, a little side to side, and then slowly, eventually, left knee down. Long through back leg and curl the toe. Remember, you can stay on the hands, you can lower anything you like down to blocks, but do keep your spine as long as you can. And then let the left knee move out to the left, heavy through the hips. Just make sure that your ankle hasn't sickled. And so looking for that 90-degree angle between ankle, knee, and hip. Contract your right glutes. Maybe left hand to the inside of your left thigh. Stay here, or bend your back knee, catch your foot, and then you can draw the heel closer towards your butt, intensifying the stretch in the front of your right thigh, your quad. One more breath here, and then slow with control, hand and foot back down to the floor. Lift your back knee off of the mat, right foot forward, find your Malasana. Heels down, lift up through your heart, knees wide, press your pelvis forward, and then think like back bend sensation with your spine. So drop your tail down and lift your heart up. One more lift of your heart. Then we'll find that forward fold. So hands come down, lift your hips up, Nice, give yourself a little shake, a little shimmy. And then knees can come down to the floor and we'll move into a butterfly. Come to sit on your butt, soles of the feet together, and let the knees go wide. Hands can come to the feet. Find the distance between your heel and your groin that makes sense for you. Might be closer, might be a little wider, right? No big deal. With your hands around your foot, knock your knees up and down a couple times so that you can work through the thighs, the hips. Nice, slowly bring your hands behind your body. Use your hands behind you so that you can sit a little bit taller, sitting in front of your sit bones. If you feel like that's not happening for you, then you can always sit on a block, or if you just need a little bit of lift, you can sit on your pillow. No matter where you are, hands behind you, right? Knees move out, down, and away. Keep your right hand where it is. Bring your left hand to the left thigh where the hip and the thigh meet, and then use your hand against the leg to press the muscle down, out, and away. Just pausing before you get to the knee, but it's like you're moving the knee towards the floor, right? No need to force it. Press your arm into the leg, but also press your leg back into the arm, into the hand, so you're activating muscles as you stretch. Stay lifted through your heart. Nice, and then just switch other side. So left hand behind you, right hand to where the hip and the thigh meet, and then use the hand to press the muscle out, down, and away, pausing before you get to the knee. Press the thigh into the hand, press the hand into the thigh, lift it through the heart. Nice, and then if you feel like you have the room or the range, two hands at the same time, press the hips down, lift up through your heart to squeeze your elbows a little bit straighter, breathe. Nice, and then slowly release. You can bring your feet down to the floor, knock your knees side to side, working that internal and external rotation at the same time. All right, from here we're gonna move into a frog pose. So come on to all fours, hands in line with your shoulders, knees in line with your hips. Keep your hands where they are. Just start to separate your knees wide to the degree that you can, right? Place that feels sustainable, place that makes sense for you, a place that you can come out of at some point, right? Keep that 90-degree angle between your ankles, your knees, and your hips, and your two hips stay in one line. All right, you can stay on the hands, you can lower down to your forearms, or you can even place something underneath your hands, underneath your forearms, if you feel like you need a little bit more support, right? No big deal. From here, you have options. You can rock a little bit forward and back, just kind of easing the body into it, but you don't want to go so far forward or so far back that you're losing the stretch. Also, another option, a little tuck and tilt of the pelvis, like cat-cows for the pelvis. But this way you're working, alternating through the groin and then through the hamstrings. At some point, pause about neutral, and you can start to work the glutes, one and then the other, or both at the same time, but just so that you know that you have full range of motion and control, right, of your muscles in this particular stretch. I think like you're energetically pulling your thighs in towards the midline. You'll have that gives you a little more lift, breathe there. And then maybe release, so you can go a little bit deeper. Press the ankles down, soft through your jaw. And then my favorite way to get out of here, so it's not that splat, bring the heels together, walk your hands back, and then bring your knees together and sit up. From here, move into a straddle position. So separate the legs just as wide as you can that makes sense for you. If you need a little bit more of that lift, giving yourself room to sit in front of your sit bones, I like to bring one hand on either side of my body and then use it to lift myself in front of myself. Now you can flex the toes or you can point them. but I'll encourage you just to make a choice, right? For myself, initially the flexing felt more familiar. It was something that I could just work with, right? The pointing, I'd really never done before in my life. So initially when I started working through this, I could flex the feet and contract through the thighs. So whether or not the legs or the feet are pointed or flexed, right, contract your thighs, ground down through your sit bones, and then lift up through your heart. Rather than feeling like you're sliding apart, energetically feel like you're pulling your heels in towards the midline. Right, so the best tip I ever got about stretching is that it's less about your body moving apart from one another, it's more about your body moving in towards itself. So legs contracted, my glutes are contracted, lower belly's in, right? Everything nice and firm. Stay here for a couple of breaths, just staying upright, getting the body acclimated to the shape. If you're having a hard time sitting in front of your sit bones, sitting upright, then you can always sit on a block, or if you just need a little bit of a lift, you can always sit on that pillow. From here, place your hands in front of you and just start to roll your pelvis around, big circles, keeping the legs firm. Okay, so then start to make your circles in the opposite direction. All right, pause, neutral, spine tall, and then we'll fold over each leg one at a time. So start by lifting your heart. We'll start with the left leg, lift it up, and then fold over the left leg. Whole time, trying to keep both of the sit points down at the same time, keeping both legs firm. Butt back and heart forward, so even though my spine isn't totally straight, I'm still working that idea, right? Tailbone back, heart forward, the soft through my jaw and my throat, and that space in between the eyebrows, breathing whole time. Bring it back up, and we'll move to the other side. Lift up, inhale, exhale, fold over right leg. 2 sit points, stay down, keep the legs firm, and then same idea, butt back, heart forward, jaw soft. All right, bring it back up, and then before I move into middle splits, one more stretch. Place your hands beneath your knees, feet down, knock your knees side to side. And then we'll move into half frog and half middle. So start by moving into tabletop all four shape, keeping the left leg as it is in your tabletop, straighten out through the right leg. And then slide down to the degree that you can that makes sense for you, that feels sustainable. Keeping both knees in one line, keeping your hips in one line. With the left leg, ankle, knee, hip, 90-degree angle. And then with the right foot, you might have the sole of the foot on the floor, you might have the foot flexed, right? Just make a choice, no big deal. But with the right leg, firm, strong, pull up on the thigh. Same deal to stay on the hands or lower down to the forearms. And then all the same options, right? That little bit shift forward, back, tuck and tilt, maybe contracting your glutes, but definitely breathing the whole time. At least 5-10 breaths here, right? Just getting your body acclimated to the position, to the stretch, to the shape. When you finish your breaths, you can place yourself back onto your hands if you're on your forearms. Now start to move the right leg back in just a little bit, about halfway, and then lift your right leg up high to the degree that you can, and bring it back down. We'll do it twice more. Lift it up, bring it down. Last time, lift it up, hold it up, 3, 2, 1. Cool, bring it down. Let's do the other side. Right leg stays bent, left leg move it out, and then move down to the degree that you can that makes sense for you. Right, staying on the hands or lowering down to the forearms. Make sure 2 hips in one line, 2 knees in one line, even though the left leg is straight and the right leg is at that 90-degree angle. Left foot, maybe the sole of the foot on the floor, or you flex the toes, right? No big deal. Little back and forth, little tuck and tilt, right? A little bit of that contraction of the glute. Try to stay about 5 or 10 breaths, so maybe 1 or 2 more breaths than you want to, right? But make sure it's a place that makes sense for your body. If you're feeling warning signs, right, get out. Whew. Hands come down, same deal, slide the leg in just a little bit, and then lift the leg up, bring it back down. 2 more, lift it up, and down. Last time, lift it up, hold it up, 3, 2, 1, awesome. Bring it back down, come to sit, and then just give yourself this stretch, the apology. All right, and then we'll move back into that straddle. So separate your legs wide to the degree that you can. Lift yourself up so that you're sitting in front of your siblings. Right, remember that if you need or want, you can always sit on a block or on a pillow. And then from here, we're gonna fold down into the middle. So lift up through your heart and then fold down forward, right? Staying up on the hands, moving down to the forearms, maybe moving onto your belly. And remembering that you can place anything underneath you that feels helpful, right? Underneath your forearms or your hands, so blocks or pillows. Whole time with the spine, I'm thinking that anterior tilt, right? Butt back and heart forward to create more length. Firm through the thighs, contracted. And then just decide what you're gonna do with your feet, right? Make a choice and breathe. So from this shape, this is one way you can get into your middle splits. So you can place your hands down when you're in your straddle, and you can roll yourself forward into it. You can roll forward and not be all the way down, right? No big deal. This is a great place to be. It's building a lot of strength, range of motion, right? Or you might be all the way down with your pelvis down and your hips in line with your knees. Now, if coming into your middle splits that way doesn't make sense for you, no big deal. You can start in a wide-legged forward fold. So start with your hands down and your feet down, and then toe heel, toe heel, toe heel, toe heel out until maybe you come a little further down, right? But especially if this is a posture that you're just starting to work towards, nothing to force, right? So if this is where you are and your body says to stop, stop, breathe. Firm the legs, dig the heels into the floor. Keep working that long spine, butt back, heart forward. Stay here for a few breaths, right? Make sure that you're working strength at your end range of motion. And then when you feel ready, you can toe heel, toe heel, toe heel yourself back to standing. Cool. All right, one last little little bit of work before I let you guys go. So come back into your straddle and place your 2 hands outside of your left leg and try to lift your left heel, left leg off of the floor. Ooh, right, should feel pretty rough. If it feels easy, then go wider with your leg. If it feels really challenging, bring your leg a little bit more in and then see if you can go from there, right? So you can bring it up, 1, 2, 3, hold it up, 3, 2, 1, nice. And then we'll do the other side. So if it's feeling really challenging, the leg isn't coming up at all, remember you can come in a little bit, right? But if you can, keep it as wide as you can, even if it feels like a real big struggle, because that way you're working, right, muscle strength at the end range of motion. Last time, 1, 2, 3. If it's really not coming up at all, place your hands on your blocks. It'll make it more a little bit accessible for the body. All right. I think that's all I have for you guys today. So if you have any questions, thoughts, comments, right, anything at all, please send me a message. Let me know. I'd love to chat. Otherwise, have a great rest of your day, your week. Thank you so much for tuning in. Stay safe. Stay well.